Huzzah, crew, how are you? Everyone there? Quartermaster, good to see you. Mr. Longwood and Henley Hellfire, it's good to see all three of you here on the deck. Time for another one of our shows, and guess what? This is our 8th
Hold
episode.
on, Captain.
Yeah.
Hold on, Captain. Somebody's got their audio again.
I don't hear anything. Everybody good?
I don't hear anything either.
Me neither.
It's not one of us. I'll just sit here and drink rum as a captain.
Y'all
Good.
Go ahead.
So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our 8th episode. It is 2 months now we've been at this with the Captain's Quarters podcast. Our numbers, they're pretty good. We have almost 150 subscribers, about 148, I think the number is. And all of our episodes are averaging 200 views each plus. That's pretty good, and it's consistent. I'd like the numbers to be much more, but as long as they stay consistent, what do you say, Quartermaster? Aye?
Hi.
So, aye. I think the Quartermaster is checking on all the technical difficulties here.
All right, Captain.
Are we good now, Mr. Quartermaster? That confused look tells me that you've got a concern, but none of us hear it, so it must be your system tonight. Ask out in our viewership. Anybody hearing any problems? What is it? Well, we'll go ahead and keep on moving for a few things.
Having this problem.
Question of the week. We just finished Halloween, had a great Halloween. So we're now moving into the Halloween or the holiday season. So our question of the week, what's your favorite holiday? Mine is Halloween. So is most of the crew. But what's your favorite holiday? Go ahead and weigh in on us, and Quartermaster will be looking at your questions and your answers and your weigh-ins, and we'll talk about it. But tell us what your favorite holiday is and why, because that will be the interesting part. Past activities for the week. We haven't really done much. We got to breathe a little bit after the Halloween weekend. It was a big weekend for us here, Captain and the Swashbuckler. But we did have this past Saturday night a wedding invasion. I was asked to invade a wedding reception, and I took my 3 mates here with me, the Quartermaster, the Navigator, and old Henley there. And we invaded a wedding reception at the Taberna de Caballero down in the Colonial Quarter. And boy, did we have some fun. Those people were a lot of fun. They really enjoyed having pirates come in there and tear the place apart. They wouldn't let me steal the bride, but there were some bridesmaids that were willing, I'll tell you that. It was a good evening. It was a good evening. And the father of the bride was extremely generous with his rum. That is very important. Generosity in rum, which is what our episode's going to be about all tonight, is rum. But for now, be watching for anything else we've been doing. We'll talk about on the horizon in just a minute. But it is time for the artifact of the week. And this week at the Pirate and Treasure Museum, we're showing off the next artifact of the 12 hidden ones. And this one is shot in the gut. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a representation of the ending of the life of Captain Thomas II from Newport, Rhode Island. In 1695, took a cannonball straight to the gut, ended his career. Now that is not a good way to go. But that is one of the 12 hidden artifacts in the Pirate and Treasure Museum of St. Augustine, Florida. Come down and see them. We've already shown several of them. Pardon me on that. Not enough rum, I guess. There we have it. So, events on the horizon. This weekend, coming up, Pirates on the Edge. It is us pirates, the St. Augustine Swashbucklers, all the way down in Edgewater, Florida, for their first pirate festival. This will be their very first one. It's at a park right there on the water in Edgewater, Florida. And There it is. Look at that. 11 o'clock to 10 o'clock. It's actually 11 o'clock to 5 is family day, and then they shut down everything at 5 and have adult time from 6 to 10 with prizes and everything else. This is a grand event, their first one, and we have 27 swashbucklers going down and being part of that. We'll have games, mermaids, music, the first edition of the Captain's Quarters podcast, and the museum, the Traveling Museum, Mayhem's Traveling Museum of Artifacts and Nautical History. All of it down there for you to have a good time with. We understand that Pirate Shop from over in Tampa will have a store set up too, so that'll be a good thing. And for the life of me, I can't think of his name all of a sudden. My goodness. But, oh well. It'll come to me and I'll make sure I throw it out there. Also, our Christmas Village. You know, last year we did the Halloween Village, and after it was all done, Mrs. Mayhem came up and said, Christmas would be fun to do too. So we did a Christmas Village, had about 10,000 lights in our backyard, including Santa, and we had a good time. So we're doing it again this year. It's one of the ways that we raise awareness of food banks and helping out animal shelters here in St. Augustine. And Halloween, we collected 275 pounds of pet food for the Humane Society and 100 pounds of food for humans for the food bank, which will be going to the Salvation Army, their food bank. 130 pounds of people food, 275 pounds of animal food. You know what that means? It means that most people don't like people anymore.
Nope.
We love the heck out of our animals, but we just don't like people. So,
hey, Captain,
yeah.
There's a definitely a mixture between the question you asked earlier was what's your favorite holiday? You got a fight between Halloween and Christmas right now. So it's almost even right now on the comment.
Halloween and Christmas.
Halloween and Christmas.
I guess that's why Nightmare Before Christmas is such a middle road one.
Yep.
And one of my favorites too, by the way. And we did have Nightmare Before Christmas on display for our Halloween. And believe it or not, we're doing a Nightmare Before Christmas Christmas tree for our Christmas yard. So I guess we're covering all gambits, aren't we? So we also are thinking of doing something else. I'll just put it out there. We haven't decided, but if people want to give us hey, that's a pretty good idea. The Christmas Village will be open on Tuesdays and Thursday nights in December from about 6:30 to 8:30. So people can just come and mill about and see the lights, and Santa will be here on those nights. I've been making that plan proper. Santa entered into a parlay with Captain Mayhem, and the accord is that he will be here on those nights. But an idea was floated out to us that maybe we make the Santa hut without Santa out in the backyard that's all lit up and decorated wonderfully, big enough to put several people in, that if people wanted to make a scheduled appointment and come out and take family pictures of all kinds without Santa, but take pictures, bring your dog, sit there and put all your ugly Christmas sweaters on and have a good time with it, we would rent out, so to speak, make it available in 20 to 30-minute increments on Wednesday evenings. We think it's a good idea. We're still hashing out the ideas. Somebody's already looking. Look at that. Very good. Somebody's already made the comment, I've got great bottles of rum right on my table. Well, yes, I happen to be sipping on the Diplomatico for now, but we have two others we're going to talk about in just a few moments. So, ladies and gentlemen, do keep in mind our Christmas Village on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Come out, donate food, and have a good time. And the last thing I want to mention, and this is just because a friend of mine may be watching, and I participated, I've known him since the 1990s, and that is my good friend Alvin, over there, the owner of the Louisiana Ren Fest, Louisiana Renaissance Festival, one of the greatest Renaissance festivals in the entire country. And his first weekend was last weekend. This weekend, it's pirate-themed weekend, so he'll get a lot of pirates out there. And he'll be running every weekend up until, I believe, the first weekend of December. But last year in April, he decided to try a pirate festival in April, and I went over there and spent 2 weekends there for the pirate festival, and it was such a big hit. He's doing it again this year, 2022, coming up. to be watching for the dates on that, because Captain Mayhem and Quartermaster Q, my other quartermaster for one of the other ships, he'll be going out, and we may even have a couple of other pirates, and we are trying to work out the entire idea of building a pirate encampment of just our pirates, St. Augustine swashbucklers, and the crew of the podcast. So you're watching for that. We'll talk more about it. Alvin, if you're watching, hey, good to see you. Alvin and I did military time many, many years ago. Quartermaster said he wants to dress like Tinkerbell.
That's David from Mighty Mighty Workers.
Aye.
No.
Hey, I'd pay to see that.
No.
Yes, So we've made it all the way through now. We're 11 minutes, almost 12 in, and I told my guest it would be between 12 and 15. So, my gosh, I must be doing something right. I've worked it out. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to bring on our guests and have some fun and talk about rum. So this year our guest is Jason Gillette, otherwise known as the River Pirate. We just call him a rum enthusiast because that's better than calling him a drunk. But this is episode 8, and ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the River Pirate right there. Toast your glass there, mate. A little bit of Diplomatico, and cheers to you.
Cheers.
And to our listeners watching and to the crew. Thank you very much for being here, Jason.
Drink the rum.
I drink the rum. So, Diplomatico's a good rum.
Yeah, I feel like being a diplomat now. I don't know.
And you're sitting in a nice, easy chair.
Yeah, it's very comfortable.
Aye.
I get used to this.
So now, ladies and gentlemen, Jason's been doing rum tastings, and he has a YouTube channel. And I've participated in 4, I think.
Yeah.
And 2 of them at the house here. One of them downtown in St. Augustine, and one up in Jacksonville at a cigar bar. And that was a fun one because the people there at the rum bar paired us off with what they thought would be a good cigar and a good rum together. And they did it with 3 different ones, didn't they?
3 different ones, yeah.
Yeah, it was wonderful. So, Jason, tell everybody why you like to do this, besides getting your face on the camera.
Well, just a real quick story. I started the YouTube channel back in 2015. Originally, it was supposed to be a kayaking YouTube channel because I had a kayak, and that's hence the River Pirate part. I've camped in about everywhere in Florida, and I thought, well, this would be kind of fun. I got what do you call it, a Fuji XP80 extreme action camera, waterproof, shockproof. Thought I'd do all these great videos kayaking. And then I realized nobody watches anyone kayak. It's about as exciting as watching grass grow. So that's when I switched over and decided that, you know what, I need to dig into the pirate thing and to go all the way in. And why not drink rum while you're being a pirate? Because that's what pirates do. So I enjoy doing it. It's a fun thing to go do. I love rum. I try to give it from the perspective of what a pirate would have thought had they had access to all these great rums we have today. And I keep it pretty simple. I'm not what's the word? I'm not a rum snob.
You're not a rum snob. You are not, by virtue of the fact that he lets me be a part of it once in a while. So he's not a rum snob, and that's really good. Rum Diary is asking favorite and funniest rum reviews on YouTube. I would take it that he's asking you what your favorite is.
Well, that's a tough one. I would probably say I think one of the funniest rums I did was the one and it was very recent. It was down at the sugar mill down in Palm Coast. I was doing trying to do a tasting at the sugar mill with rum from the plantation. Actually, El Dorado is the high-end version. This was like the Diamond Plantation rum. Well, Park Service kind of frowns on rum in those state parks. It's kind of like something that we're supposed to be doing. So I kept trying to pour it while waiting for the Park Service to go away. So I left all those parts on the video because that's hilarious when I'm trying to pour it and not get caught. Trying to make the connection with that. So,
isn't that always the case for pirates? There's always the law around to ruin our fun, isn't that?
It was, but I managed to pull it off.
Terrible. We had a really good one when we did Old City or City Gates Distillery.
City Gate, yes, that was great.
Of course, we got to taste 8 different rums or 8 different flavors of alcohol, and it was a lot of fun. That was a good one.
And we had rum pirates I never met before that you
That's
found
right.
and brought them in.
Yeah,
So, Captain, that night was more like stagger, crawl.
No, it wasn't that bad. It could have been, but City Gates Distillery doesn't give you enough rum to make it so you stagger, but they do give you enough taste so that you, especially now because they have like 12 flavors. So you get a little shot of 12 different flavors. Yeah. And some of them is pretty strong.
Yeah, they can.
They make some good ones. So they branched out into peanut butter and maple whiskeys, and but I'm still partial to their orange.
Yeah, the orange spice.
The orange spice rum is my favorite. I think it's yours also, isn't it?
Yeah, like that one in the tropical. The tropical makes a great mix.
Yeah, they make great mixers. So, how long have you been doing it? You said since 2015?
At the end of 2015 is when I first started doing the videos, and I was only doing a few here and there at a time, and I was just experimenting with it, trying different things. I went to
rum on kayaks could have been interesting though.
Yeah, well, it's the only problem is
in Florida
they don't observe the speed limit on the water out here, so it gets a little challenging on a kayak to balance the camera and not fall in.
Yeah, so well, we've had some good ones here. We've had some really great times because we've done 2 in my backyard,
right?
And we brought in other pirates to be a part of it, and all sitting around my back because my backyard is very pirate themed, and so it's like being on the deck of a ship back there. So it made for some good times.
Yeah.
Peanut butter rum, do tell. But I don't think they make peanut butter rum yet.
No, it's a whiskey.
It's a whiskey.
It's a whiskey.
But hey, slap some peanut butter in it. It's going to be good anyway. Peanut butter whiskey is awesome with rum chata. Yeah. Thank you there, BC. All that mixing. The only time we become rum snobs is when we want to drink it like this.
Yes.
When you start wanting to put Coke and ginger ale and tonic water and whatever else in it, you're not a pirate drinking rum. I can say that.
No, absolutely.
Everything you've done, every tasting you've done, all of it's been straight rum.
Yeah, I do it neat, and I do it sometimes on the rocks, depending on what I think it is. I try rums that everybody can get their hands on. I've done a few that are pretty, I don't know what to call it, just a little obscure. You can't really get your hands on it because it's only made in one spot and you have to travel to get it. But and I've given them all a fair shot too. I try to look at the positive of that particular rum. Monkey. I've had that one.
Monkey Rum was a great sponsor for Old City Pirate Festival for our first, second, and third years. Yes, for first 3 years, Monkey Rum. Monkey Rum's had a huge shakeup in health in some of the people that are running the company, and we have lost contact with all of them. And I'm not even sure how further successful they've been now. You can still find Monkey Rum. I mix my rum with rum. Well, I can't argue that one. That's a mayhem. No wonder. All mayhem mix their rum with rum. There you have it. So, boys, you have any questions? Come on, crew. Somebody's got a question there.
Well, I'll put up my question first.
Quartermaster.
Before, obviously, they would get the rum and then pour it into water. What was the reason behind doing it? There was more water than there was rum they were pouring in. Do you know why they did that?
What do you mean in the 1700s?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you don't want a drunk crew because then they can't fight. You can always ask Black Bart about that.
Yeah.
They usually it would make it last longer, and it would purify the water because the water would be purified with the alcohol, so it was drinkable. I mean, at least stay a little hydrated, I guess.
Right.
It was the beginnings of what everybody now knows as grog, and River Pirate here is right. You don't want your crew drunk, but you also don't have a long-lasting lifespan of water in barrels sitting on the deck. So how do you lengthen the water? You add rum to it. Now, rum and water is not really that tasty. So they ended up adding a few other things to it. So the official historical recipe of real grog is only 4 things: 4 parts weak, 3 parts strong, 2 parts sweet, 1 part sour. 4, 3, 2, 1. And the 4 parts weak would be water. The 3 parts strong would be rum. The 2 parts sweet would be whatever they happen to have. It could be molasses, it could be sugar cane, it could be whatever they happen to have. And then the 1 part sour was citrus, which could have been lemons, limes, oranges, whatever they had. It wasn't just limited to that. And then you mix that to the right proportions, and that kind of grog, if it's mixed right. I've had some grog sessions with some friends of mine, and it'll sneak up on you if you're not careful.
Yeah.
It will. There was a television show called Drinking Made Easy. Did you ever get to watch it?
Never saw it.
Zane Lamprey, a comedian, had this television show for 3 years called Drinking Made Easy, and he had it figured out how people would pay him to travel all over the world and drink in the most unusual exotic places, the most unusual exotic drinks. And he came to St. Augustine, and half the episode was all about grog at the Pirate Museum with Captain Mayhem, and it was a lot of fun.
It sounds like a lot of fun.
And that was in like 2014, I think it was. But I still have people come up to me in the streets of St. Augustine and go, "Hey, you're the guy on Drinking Made Easy." Well, I'll take it. It works well. So I have another rum that I wanted. We just tried Diplomatico, but I brought another one out. And I know it's almost disrespectful to bring out a rum that's already had some drinking done from it. But Jason and I are friends, so we're not worried about it. This is Santa Teresa rum, and it comes from Venezuela. Now, you've had this before, right?
Yes, I have.
The reason I bring it out is because we've had many people tell us that they like certain aspects of the history of what we do in our show, whatever that line of history is. So they like that. So we were doing some research, and Santa Teresa, there actually was a real Santa Teresa.
No, real person.
A real person, Santa Teresa. She was canonized in the 1620s, but this is what made it interesting and makes it a really interesting piece of history. She was a nun, and I'll read to you how they actually tell you. Saint Teresa of Avila, also called Saint Teresa of Jesus, original name was Teresa, and I can't get this Spanish word. I should have given this over to my quartermaster to figure this one out. But she was born in 1515 in Avila, Spain, and she died in 1582. If you haven't caught what I'm trying to lead to, she was alive at the time of Pedro Menendez becoming who he was, and at the time that St. Augustine in 1565 would become St. Augustine. So it's such a coincidental thing. I can't find anything that said she ever came to the New World, but she was considered to be a mystic and the originator of the Camellia reform, which was, from everything I was able to read, was something that brought women into the church to be nuns. She started 17 convents. Wow. And in 1620, she was canonized. But what makes it really interesting is that in 1917, Pope Paul made her a doctor of the Catholic Church, which is higher, I guess, than sainthood, because she's already been a saint. Now she's been made a doctor of the Catholic Church. Wow. And that was in 1970, and there has been no woman ever elevated to that position. So it's an incredible thing. If you go look her up, and I think we'll put some kind of a link or something to her history. There was 3.5 pages of information all about her that's amazing. So please go look her up. But so that being said, go ahead.
So she went from being a nun into a rum bottle.
Well,
lovely.
If they actually used her name for it, yes. So we're going to try this rum because I know that this rum happens to be one that my friend the River Pirate likes.
Yeah.
And I'll let you give a review of it. I'll put you on the spot, so to speak. Now, this is Venezuelan rum, and a couple other things I found out about this company. Their plantations down in Venezuela near Caracas has been in the same family since 1840, almost 200 years. And they grow everything they need to make their rum. They don't have to go to outside sources for anything. They have the sugar cane, they have the coffee, they have the plant base, they have everything. And it is a very good rum. I like it.
It's got a nice, I like it. It's got a very nice, like a molasses, almost like a.
Now, if you go to the website, for this, they have 3 levels of their rum.
Yep.
But they do recommend that this is a good rum with cigars.
That's great.
Yes. So, cheers to everyone.
Cheers.
Raise your glass. So, what do you think?
Adam says, "Can spiced rum be considered rum?"
What's that?
Adam says, "Can spiced rum be considered rum?"
Why, of course it can. Why wouldn't it be?
Well, that's what Captain Morgan told us.
That's true. Morgan did. Of course, he died from his own product.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So you got to take that into consideration. So, what do you think?
Well, I think they found our rum stash, and that's how we got where we are today with these. So probably kind of like you consider this holy water at this point. Pretty safe.
Is eating rum cake still considered drinking rum? That depends on if you eat the whole cake or not. If you don't share it, then I would say that's still another sign of being a rum alcoholic. But that's just me.
Yeah, well, if we're eating rum cakes, then we should be drinking rum.
No.
What do you think of?
The noise there is my basset hound thinking he needs to be a part of this show.
Okay, Kilo Kai, that's the one out of Caracas?
Yes.
That's the rum we're talking about? Excellent. Very, very, very good. I did a review of that one. It's a little bit sweeter, not a what's the word I want? It's not a dry rum. It's got a little more sweetness to it. Very drinkable. Perfectly good on ice, on the rocks for sure. I don't know. I mean, other than I know it's in Caracas, I don't know. The rum is found. By the way, just a little side note. I've been learning a lot, by the way, about how rum gets around the world. You can find rum in bulk. There's like these markets that are bulk rum. I was in a distillery down in Cocoa Beach, and the owner of it brought me into the back room area, and he had a giant plastic, I don't know what to call it, like a crate that was full of 5-year aged rum that he bought. And he goes, no, you can buy this out on the markets. You can buy 5-year, you can buy 10-year.
So what is his purpose for buying so much, did he say?
Because he can mix it the way he wants it, and it'll be an aged rum in the bottle, whatever. He was trying to come up with a spice rum, and he didn't come up with a name for it. It was kind of interesting because I didn't realize that a lot of the rums out there around the world, there's a finite amount of 20-year age. There just isn't a huge, vast amount of it. So that's why you see a lot of them saying aged up to 20 years. Well, there's a fraction of a 20-year in there, and probably a lot more 5 and 10 in there than 20. And that's why I've kind of concluded, being part of the Florida Rum Society, one of my takeaways has been, I used to think, boy, some of these people are rum snobs, but now I realize they're just rum purists. They like rums that are pure, meaning I guess the word they use is honest. That it doesn't have additives done to it. It's got a legitimate aging claim on it,
right?
That you can enjoy. Because the problem rum has is on the caste system of liquor, rum isn't as high up as some of the other liquors are, and that's the whole point of trying to change that perception of rum. And yeah, Kraken 94 proof. Oh yeah, that's.
And believe it or not, Kraken 94 proof is one of those few rums that I will mix with a fruit drink.
Yeah, that's.
It's still good, and I don't normally mix my rum, but I like 94 proof mixed. So one of the reasons that rum may not be as high on the evolutionary scale, so to speak, and this is just a supposition on my part. Rum, more than whiskey, rum was a huge commodity in the 16, 17, and 1800s. a huge commodity, made for trading. And one of the interesting parts is that there are some points in history in those 3 centuries that a barrel of rum was worth more than gold.
Yeah.
The rum had more value than gold at this time. So, and it's one of the things I always like to tell people, and this will get me in trouble with some pirates. The stereotype of pirates drinking rum all the time is a stereotype.
Yeah.
Because everybody drank rum because it was readily available and it was everywhere, especially in the New World. But pirates drinking up their rum, their captain and the quartermaster wouldn't let them drink it all up because the rum had value. And you didn't want them ruining that rum or that value. So let him come in and see if he'll come in here and sit with me. My dog is really trying to get in through the gate. So we're going to let him come in and see if he'll sit here and be quiet with me and see what happens.
Hey, Captain, Ransom was actually asked you a question. Florida Rum Society, can you touch base on that?
Yeah, we have somebody from the Rum Society watching, I believe, also. So let's give them a plug and tell them all about it.
The Florida Rum Society is a Facebook page and group that they have their key focus is to elevate rum in the spirit world, and so they have a lot of rums that they feature that are expensive. I'll say that, but mostly it's because the fact that they're trying to make it their premium spirits, and that's the kind of the goal. That's kind of the goal of it, is to try to make it a premium spirit and not. I don't want to say it this way, but the public's perception of rum is Captain Morgan, Bacardi, Malibu, boat drinks. Their perception is, if you said, "Oh, well, I'm going to have Angel's Envy bourbon," well, that's way up here, you know. And you go, well, what rum would be way up here that they could be comparable? Well, that's the whole point, is to have these obscure rums that you've never heard of, but are aged 15, 20 years and are premium and are crazy smooth and have every bit of flavor as any bourbon or whiskey out there.
Does the Florida Rum Society have a website?
They have a Facebook page. I think they have a website too. I found them on Facebook is where I actually found them. And I got in fact, they have Zoom meetings where, good example, a few months back, I got to talk to Dr. Joyce of Appleton Rum.
Appleton Estates.
Yeah. And, to be able to talk to her, and she, my jaw dropped when she said they have 200,000 barrels of rum.
Wow.
In various warehouses in Jamaica. And they are always mixing and coming up with new ideas. And that's what she does. She's a mixologist. She can distill. She knows everything. And she's a woman. She's been doing it. She's like the premier woman of rum. I mean, it doesn't get any higher up in the pantheon of rum.
We might have to see what we can do about bringing her on our show.
Yeah, she's
that would be great. Cap, we'll also do is for our crewmates, we'll go ahead and share. I'll find that link to their website and their Facebook and share that with our crewmates.
Cool. That would be wonderful. That would be very good. Thank you, Quartermaster. So, are you familiar with or do you enjoy Pusser's rum at all? I know the Pusser's rum seems to be like the go-to that everybody says. That's because it's actually authentic British Navy rum.
Right. No, I enjoy Pusser's rum. I actually have nothing against Pusser's rum. I think it's great. One thing I did a little science experiment with Pusser's rum that Captain Don Ron Brown told me to try, which is, I do recommend doing it. I wouldn't start with the whole bottle though. I start with a little bit. He said if you start adding brown sugar to Pusser's rum in increments, you will get to the point where it's the smoothest rum you've ever had. So one day I just experimented. I just kept adding brown sugar to Pusser's rum in a small in a tankard, and just kept mixing it, and it got smoother and smoother and smoother. And I thought, that's how some of these rums fail the hydrometer. test because that's how they're getting it smooth. They're adding a bunch of brown sugar to it.
And that smooths it out.
It smooths it out.
Well, that's why hot buttered rum is so smooth and good.
Yeah,
That's very much so.
but I love Puzzles rum is great. I think it's an easy go-to rum if you're like Captain Morgan, Bacardi. I want something a little more historical looking. Well, there you go. Get that one.
Have you tried their Nelson's Blood?
I've not tried Nelson's Blood. I've only had the gunpowder proof.
Yes.
Which I thought was pretty good. Of course, I think it probably made the bartender split a gut when I said to him, I said, "Man, I'm not tasting the gunpowder in this."
On that top shelf up
And
there,
there's no gunpowder, right?
where the
There it
snap
is.
of
I was only
is,
joking
the
when I
bottle
said
in
it,
front of it. See it? I have a souvenir bottle that I received in 2010 when I attended a pirate event in Fells Point, Maryland.
Mhm.
And this was a gift from one of the owners of Puzzles Rum, one of their souvenir bottles.
Oh, there you are. Look at that.
Yeah, it was really nice, and I drank it all up. It's good rum, but this is a nice souvenir bottle of Puzzles Rum that I received in 2010 at Fells Point, Maryland.
And it keeps the legend alive that they threw his body in a vat of rum to keep him preserved to get back to England.
Yep, that's it. So it's rum is very useful, medicinal, and enjoyment.
Oh, it is.
So how many tastings have you done since 2015?
Oh, let me think now.
You have a ballpark figure?
I would say at least, let me think this out. I would say at least 60 different
60.
rums. I would say at least 60. A lot of them, when I travel to the Caribbean, I bring back rum from real obscure rum that no one's ever heard of. And I realize that, most of the time it's probably rum that's actually from Guyana or from Nicaragua, and then they've just simply added whatever they want to it to make it theirs.
So on my last birthday, I stayed out at the Embassy Suites on St. Augustine Beach,
Right.
and they have a really nice rum bar.
They do. They have a great one.
They have a wonderful rum bar, and they have a rum from the Philippines.
Oh, yeah.
And I was astounded, and they had that, and it didn't dawn on me that the Philippines has sugarcane too.
Yeah, it's a Tengway.
Yes,
Tengway?
a very good rum.
Right.
A very good rum. I'll be looking for that. Oh, look, we got FloridaRumSociety.com
There you go.
and their Instagram. How about
Yeah.
that? Very good. So join up with them. I'm a member of the Florida Rum Society now on their Facebook page, and get some information. Oh, look at that. Max wants to get in the picture here, but we're going to pull him back out of the way. Get over
You
here.
can't have any rum.
You can't
So-
have rum tonight there, buddy. You
Yeah.
can't have rum.
One of the surprising rums I've ever had, it's called Old Port Rum. It's a little harder to find, but it's from India. And you wouldn't think of India for rum.
Funny you should say that. Remember the couple we were sitting with the other night prior to the wedding invasion?
I can.
They were from India, and he told me that it's
That's
some
right.
of the best rum. And so now we have to look for it. Can we find it anywhere?
Yeah, you can find it over at Old City Liquors over on San Marco. They have it there, and it's really good. It's really would surprise you. When I did the video, I thought, Indian rum. Oh boy, I don't know what I'm expecting with this. And boy, oh boy, I was like, wow, they really make good rum. I had no idea. So, and I've had, I've tried. What's that rum? I've had most of the Appleton rum, Jamaican rums. I've had a lot of the Foursquare rums. What was it? The Quartermaster Navigator. Was I prefer dark or light rums?
I would prefer dark rum for me.
There's one for dark. Navigator?
The dark rum.
All right. Hellfire.
Let's see.
Well, I'm not too sure about that just yet, but I'll be able to get back to you in a couple months about that.
Yes. Old Hellfire is a bit younger, and so we have to watch out when we're in town with him. We can't let him drink. The girls liked him the other night, but we have
they
to be
did.
free to drink and get everybody in trouble. But so, what is the most obscure rum you ever did?
Actually, it's not really that obscure. It's obscure in the United States. I had a friend of mine that went to Cuba, and they were the last cruise ship to leave. And they got me a bottle of Cuban rum. Of course, he was really mad about it later because he said I should have bought 2 bottles. That is the, what was it?
Do you remember the name of it?
Yeah, they make it in Puerto Rico too. You know it as Havana Club.
Havana Club.
But the Havana Club in Havana is not the Havana Club in Puerto Rico. So everything was in Spanish on the bottle. And he was really, he made me bring it over just to try it because he wanted to, because he was, why? I didn't know they were going to, travel to Cuba was going to stop. I said, I knew because I checked with my travel agent. And that's why I asked you to grab it. And I just didn't let you in on it. Sorry.
I want to drink that rum, some Havana rum.
But it's not obscure everywhere else in the world. Everybody else you can get it, you know. But anyways, it wasn't as, it had a lot of burn to it. It was not as exotic tasting as I was hoping.
So on that note, though, when you Havana Club 7 years from Cuba is the best.
It is the best. If you what's the word I want to use? It's just got more burn than I prefer, but I jealously have kept the rest of it because my wife loves it, and she would have drank that bottle down instantly because she thought it was the best.
Pagan 13. I have a bottle of coconut rum from Aruba that someone gave me. You can't get it here, but it's really good, and I don't like coconut rum. Aruba rum.
Yeah.
What's the name of that? I'd be interested in that one. What are the levels, or when you take a taste of rum, what is it that you're looking for? Are you expecting something, or are you trying to keep open-minded enough to just allow it to happen and then enjoy it from there?
I try to see initially when I first sip a rum, what is my first impression? What's the first thing I think of? Because if you smell it, you know, it may smell like one thing, but then when you sip it, it doesn't taste like it, just like it's smelling. You know, it may have a floral smell to it, but then the minute you sip it, it doesn't taste like that at all. It's got a vanilla flavor or something else. So I just kind of tell my audience that what my initial impression of it is. What do I think? An overproof rum, all I taste is fire. You know, it's like scorpions attacking me. But you know, I can't taste anything. I have to water it down. But yeah, that's kind of what I do. I just try to see what that initial taste is. Does it burn right away, or is it just it doesn't have any taste, or maybe it's smooth? Who knows?
When I taste rum, the thing that I'm always paying attention to is the burn or the afterburn.
Right.
And if it's got a really strong burn or afterburn, I may not enjoy it as much.
Hey, Captain.
Yeah.
I have a question for both of you.
Go ahead.
So obviously, Captain, you first. If you were to list your top 3 rums, what would they be?
Zacapa.
Okay.
Vizcaya. And then I'm going to go something really probably rum snobs won't agree with me on. City Gates Distillery's spiced orange. In fact, I have bottles of spiced orange, and if I want to drink rum and I just don't know what I want, that's my go-to. If I'm sitting here and I want some rum and I want to drink and I want to watch videos on TV and just sit and relax for the night, and I can't decide if I want to go with Diplomatico or San Teresa or Zacapa, I'll pull out that bottle. So but I'm very partial to Zacapa and Vizcaya.
And River Pirate for you will be your top 3.
Flora de Canas would be always my go-to first one. The second rum that I like is I like Appleton. I think the Jamaican rum, it's got a kind of a funkier taste than other rums. but I like it. I think it tastes. I just like it. And the third one might be surprised right by. I like Kraken, not the '94, just like the plain Kraken. There's just something about it. I can't explain it. I could just sit there and go, man, this is great. You know, it tastes great with a cigar.
And you're talking about the 84 proof too. Question for Hellfire: do you have any specific rums you are planning on having in a few months? I'll answer that one for him. He'll have any rums the captain tells him to drink.
There you go.
Are you there?
You know me well, Captain. You know me well.
Anyone ever have Enmore, a 1988 20-year-old full proof?
Oh, Mara rum. So that's not from South America. That's the rum straight out of Guyana. No, I've not had it. It sounds interesting though. If it's out of Guyana, it's probably great.
That would be an interesting one for us to do.
Yeah, definitely.
So, have you found that almost every country in the world probably has some variety of rum?
Every place seems to have some kind of rum. In fact, there was actually a couple of rums that you probably may or may have never heard of that are actually pretty darn good. Captain from Captain Sia from my rum diaries introduced me to the coconut rum out of Siesta Key. And it turned out to be the best coconut rum I've ever had anywhere.
I like coconut rum.
Yeah, Nia. I'm sorry, Nia. What is this here? Nia. And then the other rum I like is, if you like vanilla flavored rum, is Gubba rum, gold, which is really hard to find. It used to be able to find at PJ's.
Right.
He was carrying, but I haven't seen it anywhere around here. But it is actually, he has a distillery in Colorado that use absolutely pure water, the purest water they could find. And he's duplicating a rum that he found in St. Martin.
Wow.
And he said they just couldn't do the production level that he needed it at. Steve Gubb is a guy that follows me on Instagram, and I've chatted with him privately about rum and stuff. And he's quite an entrepreneur, and he's got a coconut and he's got a vanilla. But if you like vanilla rum, his Gubba Gold is off the chain.
Well, we're going to have to. I'll share with everybody my reason for having Captain Morgan rum in my cabinet. Now, the River Pirate's seen my cabinet of rum, and it's quite filled. And my crew has seen my cabinet of rum, and it's quite filled. And I have bottles of rum that are upwards of 60, 80, 90, over $100 a bottle. And I'm very generous when you come to my house. The River Pirate knows that, and my crew knows that. And if you come here, I will offer you rum. But if the first words out of your mouth are, I'll have rum if you can put some Coke in it, you're getting Captain Morgan rum. I'm not going to waste any of my good rum mixing Coke in it. So you'll get Captain Morgan rum, and not the good one. But that's my take on Captain Morgan rum. So we're reaching a point where I want you to give everybody a closing idea of your thoughts on rum altogether.
My best advice with rum is when you go to a bar and you see it on the counter there, and you want to know what it tastes like, ask for a half shot and try it. Don't go buy the bottle right off the bat, and see if you like it at all. And that's the easiest way to find out a rum. You may not like it. And if you don't like it, guess what? You only have a shot. You got to taste it. Sometimes the bartender won't even charge you for it. So that's my best advice if you're trying to find out what a rum you like. Mm-hmm. Just ask the bartender, hey, I want to try that one. Can I have a half a shot? And I've found more rums that I like that way. Oh, Kill Devil? Oh, man. Yeah, that's called liver transplant.
Now, Captain Blackheart, have you had one? Because I don't think any of us would probably dare to drink it, but that gives me one other thought, a last thought, because you just made a comment before we went on the air that Budweiser is now moving into the rum company.
Rum spirits, yeah.
Budweiser make a rum.
Yeah.
I can't imagine it being any good, but I'll keep an open mind.
They made clear it was going to be used for mixers. So that tells me right off the bat where we're running with it.
All right, then I guess that'll be the one below Captain Morgan in my liquor cabinet. Very good. So we're reaching that point where we want to talk about a couple of the other things that are going on here with our show. And all I got to do is look for there it is right there, and look at my segments here. You know what? With all this fun and jocularity, another really fun word, I forgot to tell you that we need to let you know how to find out where you can find us and be a part of what we do. Be a part of our podcast, a part of our Instagram. And I believe the navigator, Mr. Longwood, are you set? Go ahead.
He's on mute.
He is on mute. Well, I guess that Mr.
I'll take it.
Go for it.
All right. You can find us on our YouTube channel. Obviously, you're already on it. But you could also look at us up on Instagram. If you haven't done that, go check it out. We have a lot of photos in there and some videos we're going to be adding here soon. You could also join us on our private Facebook group at captainsquarterspodcast.com. But here's what you need to do. You got to make sure in order to enter our private Facebook page, you're going to have to answer 3 questions. All right. Have you subscribed to our channel on YouTube? And also have you are liking and following us on Instagram? And there's a third question, but I'm going to leave that one for you to go check it out. So again, go to our Facebook group page, which is Captain Quarters Podcast Group. It is set to private because if you enter that, then you're going to see behind the scene private content, behind the scenes stuff that you're not going to get here on this YouTube channel. We also have coming up is our Patreon page. We should have that up and running here in the next week or so, which will also get you exclusive things in that Patreon page. And it helps us to support the podcast and the crew. Obviously, all this is financially driven, so we need your support in order to be able to bring you week to week great content. We're also going to have some merchandise that we're going to be putting out there. So keep a weather eye for that as well.
We've when we first decided to start doing this back in August and we were ready to go in September, we talked about using September, October, November, and December as our test runs of the show to play around, learn, because we're all learning what this is all about, and have some fun with it and not be too over anxious or overzealous about selling or creating memberships or anything else. But ladies and gentlemen, it does cost money to do this, and we'd like to compensate people who support us in any way, shape, or form, whether it's by donations or by Patreon, with some great merchandise. And we have some really wonderful things. Some of it's going to include cartoon drawings of all of us characters by Sketchy Guy of Nevada. He was on earlier, wasn't he? Is he still on?
I didn't see him on there, but I wanted to show that real quick.
Oh yes, we do have something for the River Pirate.
We do.
The Sketchy Guy decided to jump in and do a quick sketch of you.
That's great. Look, I see the resemblance.
There is a resemblance there. I think there's a good resemblance there. There's a fish on your hat, though, for some reason.
That's okay.
All right.
I like seafood.
So we're going to make sure that you get in touch with Sketchy Guy and see what he can do to improve that for you.
That'd be awesome.
Be a part of it. And since we're being so generous, I have a gift for it's a small gift, and gifts are really fun to do. This is a shot glass, but you can't get these shot glasses. This is a shot glass from the Taberna di Gallo, the Tavern of the Rooster, before it became the Tavern of the Horse.
Oh, I remember this over on.
Yeah, you can't get this. It was part of the Spanish Quarter, now known as the Colonial Quarter.
Yeah.
You can't get these anywhere, and I have a couple of them. This one may be a bit used. It's been used a couple of times, but you can't get them. And that's it right there, ladies and gentlemen. The Tavern of the Rooster. And I give you that to put in your collection to drink your rum out of whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Captain.
And as a gift from us.
Appreciate
it. Here. And my dog is not a gift.
I'm just very popular with animals. What can I say?
I think what we're going to end up doing is taking and nailing his ears to the floor so he can't move. That'll make it easier. Yes, he is a basset hound. And if any of you know anything about basset hounds, They are needy. They are whiny. But I wouldn't trade him for anything else in the world. So you can say what you want about him. At least he wasn't barking tonight. He just is very anxious to be here. We did try to give him some enticers to lower his excitement. We'll leave it at that. I don't want anybody to think I'm a drug dealer for dogs.
Organic supplements.
Oh, there you go, organic supplements. And we just, while you were doing the bit about how to find us, I poured one last shot for my friend here, the River Pirate, of my Zacapa rum.
Yeah, 23.
23. Cheers to everyone out there. We'd like to make sure that you know that next week's episode is all about Veterans Day. Now, Veterans Day is this week, but that episode, the 15th, we're going to talk about Veterans Day. We have a guest or two that will probably come on board with us. And there is a charitable organization here in St. Augustine called the Veterans Gardens Project that we are going to be talking about and giving them some face time and making sure that they get their word out there. I've helped them before in the past, and that's a good thing.
Quartermaster, do you have a question for me? You were asking earlier. I don't remember what it was.
No, that was the question I asked regarding the water and the rum.
No, before that.
Oh, that was Hellfire. Hellfire had a question for you. I'm not sure.
Any other comments or questions? We have just a couple of minutes left. Let's go ahead and fill it up with our desire to be part of have the viewers to be part of everything we're doing.
Well, they were pretty excited about seeing the River Pirate sketch up. So,
that's pretty good. I would say that the sketch is just as good as the real life.
Pretty close.
Pretty close. Pretty close. So, my Rum Diaries, are they part of the Florida Society?
Yes. Captain Nia, she also has a YouTube channel, by the way. And she does a really great job. And she, how can I put it? She's definitely a rum explorer. She knows. I'm like, wow, how'd you figure that out? This is great, And I even teased her about watched a couple of her rum reviews and said, man, you picked the flavors in it I would never have guessed were in there. I said, I'm trying to step up my game. Maybe I need to sip it slower.
Well, maybe we can entice her to be a guest on our show in 2022, because I think we'd like to do a few more rum spots. It seems that there's quite an interest out there, and with the Florida Rum Society and with my Rum Diaries, I think we could have another couple of shows here. Sure. And by all means, I'd like to have the River Pirate back anyway. Sure. Because every time he comes on, we're going to try a different rum anyway. Isn't it a shame you guys are all in a different part of the ship and not in the captain's quarters, eh?
Hi, Captain. You have us working.
Oh, and you asked about Shafar. You want to know what Shafar is?
That's right. Go ahead, Mr. Hellfire. The Shafar.
Yeah, so at the end of your rum tastings, you close by saying Shafar. Can you tell us why?
Well, I'll tell you the fictional story, and then I'll tell you the real story. Shafar is actually a phrase used by the North African pirates. It actually means good health. It's an Arabic word for that. I added the RRR to it to give it a little more pirate flavor to it. But long story short, there was a pirate fest up in Savannah, up in what's that island?
Tybee Island.
Tybee Island. And one of the pirates was yelling out down the road, "Shafar! Shafar! Shafar!" And they didn't know what she was saying. And so they quickly looked it up and realized it was a North African pirate phrase that meant good health, to good health. But that's not actually what she was saying. She was saying shit fire.
Well, that makes a difference.
But I decided that, you know what, there's a pirate connection to this, and you can't let it go lie. You can't let it lie. And people say huzzah all the time. So I thought, I need my own. So I thought Shafar sounded pretty good. So
there you go. See, and on that note, that's how he closes. Oh my God, that would be a dream. Captain Mayhem. We would love to. Thank you, my Rum Diaries. We'd love to.
All hands, all hands.
Captain, we're pulling into port.
All right, very good. Well, then, on the note of Shafar, we'll say in a moment, tell everybody our catch line.
Part of the podcast.
Part of the crew.
Always.
Shafar.
Drink the rum.
All right.
Good night, folks. Have a good night.
Good night, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.